You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you a little bit about our current sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. As you well know, if you've been following This is Oklahoma, they've been a huge part of this podcast. So this podcast is presented by the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, telling an Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof. Also, for the podcast, a new sponsor, RCB Bank. The home market is booming and RCB Bank is here for you. If you're in the market to buy a home, a mortgage pre-qualification will make the process much easier. Talk to one of our mortgage professionals today. RCB Bank, that's my bank. With approved credit, terms and restrictions apply. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, RCB Bank, NMLS 798151. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, your host. Back with another episode coming to you from, I'm going to say cowgirl country, not cowboy country. We're in cowgirl country today. Isabella Fierro is on the podcast, cowgirl golfer, going into your junior year. Hopefully I get that right. Isabella, thanks for joining me on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
No, thanks for inviting me.
So looking through your stats to give people a little bit of context, there's a lot, and currently 56 in the world in the WAGA, which for people who are listening and don't understand that's World Golf Amateur Rankings. Originally from Mexico, and last year you had the best stroke average in program history, which is epic. And then obviously your first win, you broke the scoring record as well, which is awesome too.
Yeah, it's been so great, and I'm very, very grateful to be here. Mm-hmm. Know that I have my family back home, but I also have my second family here, and I'm just so grateful for them, and I enjoy being here every single day.
Yeah, no doubt. So take us all the way back. Where does golf start for you?
Most players will say their dad introduced them to the game. For me, my dad, it's like super competitive, and whenever we were super little, I was around 3-4 years old. He told my older sister and me at the time that whatever sport we would like to pick, we will have to do with discipline and until the end, and as long as my dad and mom could support us, and that will be it. And I just fell in love with golf just because it's such an independent sport, but also it gives me so much peace in the golf course, and it's a sport that you mature way faster than others. What I see and what I feel, for example, you get to make the mistakes and then you learn from them. In other sports, you have the coach talking to you there all the time. And golf is such a lone sport that you have to know yourself more than anybody else. And so it's kind of like really important. And I just fell in love with the sport, and I'm very, very competitive. And it's been great.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. That was pretty much the same for me. I kind of played as a kid growing up, right? And you got your parents that, you have great parents behind you and tell you that you find your passion and you give it everything you have. We'll support you as long as we can. And it must have been cool having a sister to bounce things back off and be competitive with. Does she play golf too?
My sister or my mom? Yeah, my sister was gonna come actually here. She was pretty good golfer. She didn't thought she was, but she is so talented. But at the end of the day, she realized that golf can be very lonely, just like any other sport. If you compete a high level and you want to be the best, just like my goal is to be the best. So she eventually found out, and she's like, you know what, I love golf, but it's not my passion. So she decided to just stay in Mexico, and she's about to finish her degree in architecture. Mm-hmm. So she's happy, which is what matters. And yeah. That's
I'm sure it was a tough decision to make, right? But to say, hey, it's not my passion, I'm not going to do it, then, I'm sure she's going to be successful in whatever she does. But that's a really cool thing to kind of, for me, I'm like, it was golf or nothing. But I always kind of respect people who are talented, but they say, it's not my passion. They kind of step away from it. It's a big decision to make, to step away, but that would have been amazing, right? If she joined you on the team, I'm sure that would have been great for you.
Yeah, actually, I've decided most likely to stay after fifth year here. And my brother potentially can come here. And so if I stay, my little brother is going to come here, which it will be really cool. But yeah, back for what you're saying, it is, I think every sport, like I said, if you're competing at a high level, there's a lot of things that each sport brings you. And like, it's just something that you learn every single day from it. But at the same time, it's taking away something. So I think you have to balance it out. And at least for me, I know that I want to be the best amateur first, and then I want to be the best professional out there. Yeah. And so once I reach that, of course, I have like my long-term goals and everything, but then eventually I want to have a family and kids and everything. And just because, like I said, golf kind of gets a little bit lonely at some point, and you have to have the right roots, the right people around you and stuff. And it's so important to be in college. And yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of friends that they were pretty much top 10 world ranking. They were amazing golfers, amazing people. And they eventually graduate and they're like, you know what? This is not my passion. I don't want to do it. And of course, there's a lot of people talking and saying like, how could you? Like, if there was their dream. And like, they're just like, you know what? Like, I love golf, but most people work for Golf Channel, or there you do like interviews or stuff like that, which is really cool because they get another perspective from it. And it's just amazing. And I respect those people so much because it's kind of like they build their own career for golf, but then eventually they find another passion, and it's totally respectable too.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me about kind of like as you realized that you were kind of really good at it and you start playing more and you go to golf tournaments, you start winning, and like how was that kind of progression? Because you played junior World Am too, right?
Yeah. Well, it was when I was super little, like I was a big grinder. Like I didn't really care about school. Like I pretty much just went out there. I won the Caliber Junior World, which now it's named IMG, which is in San Diego in Torrey Pines at the time. And right now still is. And I won that event when I was 6, 7, and when I was 10, I think. Mm-hmm. So pretty much you're competing with the best players in the world on your age. Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of knew that I was good at this sport. I've never been the kind of person that I like to brag about what I do or not do. I'm just like kind of quiet and humble, which that's something I'm always gonna keep doing. But yeah, I mean, I got the opportunity to play with a Mexican squad since I was like about 13 and 14. Mm-hmm. So that made me grow up a little bit faster than other girls my age. That made me see a lot of perspective, a lot of things that most girls my age don't get to see until they eventually like get there. So I got to pretty much play with Gabi Lopez, Maria Fassi, with Alvaro Ortiz. Like I got to play with people that are right now on tour, which is really exciting for me because I know I can be there one day. But yeah, I played the World Team Championship when I was 16 or 15 in Cancun. I came like top 15. I played one LPGA event when I was 15, and I came like top 15. And I mean, it's just been kind of like, for me, I've always said that it's really good to be like super stable. Like sometimes, yeah, you can win in everything, but in golf is really hard to win. Like it has to be like your perfect week and everything. So you have to be patient out there. So with me, I've always been kind of like a grinder, like in slow motion. I said, like I've been through injuries. I've been through so many adversities throughout my career. And I feel that that's how I realized I was good at the sport because whenever I play, like I'm always having a smile on my face. Like I'm always like energetic and stuff, which I think that's the best word to describe me in the golf course and outside too. And eventually like in college, like I even had a conversation with my coaches last semester and I was like, guys, like I just want to improve. Like I feel that I haven't improved that much. And they look at me and they're like, have you looked at your stats? And I was like, not that much, but yeah. And they were like, okay, so like they literally like left for an hour, came back, talked to me, and they were like, you have done this, and this in freshman year. You have break this record and this, and I didn't realize. So sometimes it's really hard. I'm gonna say for me, but I bet for most players too, to be really hard on themselves. Mm-hmm. But also sometimes you have to take a step back and give yourself a pat on the shoulder and be like, you're doing things the right way. College is a hard thing. If you're competing on a sport, it's so hard because you have to do everything pretty much with excellence. You have to have good grades. You have to go workouts. You have to be there for your teammates, tournaments, traveling. There's just so many things. Plus, if you're international, it's even more difficult because you're away from your family and you have to get adjusted to the culture, which is a huge challenge. At least it was for me my freshman year. So with that being said, whenever before college, I kind of knew, I was like, I think I got it. Like I came quarterfinalist in the US before my surgery in 2017. And it was such a great experience. Know that I was there. I was out there. People knew who I was. I was in contingency. I was there. I was fighting for the podium most of the times. But I also understood that sometimes it's not really your week, that you could be hitting so good the week before a tournament, and then you end up in a tournament and you literally shot 74, hitting absolutely every green, and you're like, what is wrong? But absolutely, like, honestly, there's nothing wrong. It's just that's golf. And that's why you have to be so open-minded to know that there's a possibility that if you are hitting a draw, that tomorrow you're going to hit a fade, and that's how it is. So you have to get used to it and just adapt to it.
Yeah, no doubt. Tell me about Will Dam in Cancun. Like that was 2016, right?
Yeah, they canceled this year's actually, but I'm going to play next year in France. But in Cancun, it was amazing. I can remember absolutely every single shot I hit, which is crazy, but I do, just because everyone was saying like, oh, this like little girl from Mexico is playing with the Mexican squad and everything. And again, like I was playing with girls that were 4 or 5 years older than me. And the coolest part about being young and go out there, compete, is that you have no expectations. Right. You have no expectations on how things will go. So that's how I entered to the golf course. I kind of knew the magnitude of the tournament. I was like, this is a world team championship, playing in my home country, playing for my country with home crowd. Okay. But I always love crowd. And so I was really pumped from the first tee. Like I got very excited. My family got to come, everybody. So it was definitely one of the best tournaments I've played. And the bound I made with my friends, with my teammates, it was just amazing. I learned so much about my golf game, so much about myself, that eventually that like led me to know more about me and through college, and it was just a great experience. Yeah,
I'll tell you a funny story. So I played Will Dam in 2014 in Japan. Really? Yeah, in Japan, and we showed up. Obviously. So it was the same way with you guys. The women played the week first, right, and then the guys follow. Mm-hmm. So we showed up obviously the week before, practice round, preparing for it. And there's TV cameras everywhere. There's crowds everywhere. And we're like, this is going to be amazing. Yeah. Day one of our tournament, there was nobody there because male golf in Japan is not big. Whereas female golf in Japan, there was like 5 or 6 news stations. And standing on the first tee, I'm like, where did everyone go? Like, why did everyone leave? I couldn't believe it. But yeah, great experience. Just, you're right, traveling. I mean, to play in your home country, I'm sure was amazing. Yeah. Like I said, when you go to France, it'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's definitely one of the best golf tournaments I've ever played in. It was just so much fun. Yeah. And like I said, I've always been like super humble, but I love being grateful, because sometimes I feel as athletes, we take everything for granted, and the places we get to visit, it's just such an amazing experience. Like, it's just sometimes we forget about that, and it's kind of like, okay, like you can say, oh, I've been to like China and Switzerland and like Abu Dhabi, and then you look and you're like, wait, I have been in these places. Like, it's so cool. And so I just free as well. Yeah. So I enjoy the best out of every tournament. So while all this is going on, you're playing really well you're at a young age and you're playing big tournaments, and you're kind of the youngest one there. When does OSU start calling? Like, when does that happen and make that connection? Okay, so with me, before Coach Robertson and Coach Swanee came, Coach Jones and Coach Par Nielsen, they recruited me. Mm-hmm. They were probably on me since I was like 14 or 15, which it was like a young age. And I remember that I was playing tournaments, and I was having like 15, 20 coaches watching me and the girls in my group. And I was like, what is it? This is so cool. Yeah. And I got really excited. And eventually my ex-coach came here, Rafael Arcon. He came to play here. Mm-hmm. And he's so wise. I mean, he taught me so much. And one of the things is that, hey, go visit Oklahoma State. And it was not even in my radar. I was like, wait, what? A girl from Mexico in Oklahoma State, in Oklahoma and Stillwater? Like, what? But I always said, like, I'm a really determined girl, and I'm really focused, and I don't really party. I don't really do those kind of things. So, and plus the people here are so polite that I was amazed. I was like, this is amazing. And when I came in my visit,
I literally, with like exact same words, I stepped on the football field and I fell in love with it. It felt like my second home right away. And everything, it's like, I mean, Oklahoma, yeah, everyone says it's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it is in the middle of nowhere, but it's a college town, which makes it even better. And everyone, it's like, if you're an athlete, everyone's so welcoming. Like, I remember freshman year that I was so lost. You could see it on my face. And people will come to me and be like, hey, like, do you need help? And I'll be like, yeah, I do need help. I'm lost. And so they would just help me in the middle of nowhere. So that's pretty cool. And plus, another factor why I picked Oklahoma State was the weather. Most people, which I respect their decision, but most people like to go to California or like Florida, which is like sunny and there's no wind. But then eventually, if you go and play tournaments in like Chicago, where it can get very windy, or you turn pro and you play in Asia, which is like 30-mile wind, you're not going to know what to do in those circumstances. So the weather here is so unpredictable that you are prepared for that adversity that you eventually are going to be faced on. So I am so happy I picked this place, and they pretty much have been on me since I was like 14, 15. And so it's been really cool so far.
Yeah, you're right. Like, coming to the middle of nowhere. And well, I mean, first of all, coming to Oklahoma, which is technically in the middle of nowhere, and then going to Stillwater, which is even more in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I'm sure it was a shock. And like you said, that I had the same experience as a culture shock coming here. And I mean, I hated my first couple of months. I just couldn't get settled, and I mean, eventually did, right? But it's just that when you're young, you know, you kind of just like, what am I doing here? And I'm away from my family and all that stuff. But you're right. It seems like, same thing happened to me. Like, the people are great. Everyone's really friendly. Everyone's going to help you out. You don't necessarily need to ask for it. They can see it, right? They're like, yes, we know, we'll help you because we can see you need it. But that's really cool. What was it like, I guess, when you first stepped on the tee at Carson Creek?
Well, there's a tournament, an AGJ tournament. It was AGJ. It's like a little association, like a little like for junior players that are really, really good. Yeah. So I got invited to the Fing Invitational, I remember. And I was crying on the 13th hole, just praying to go back home because of how hard the golf course was. It was insane. I found snakes on the bushes, my balls on the bushes. I was on the bushes the entire day. I was like, Dad, this is not, like, I was like 15 or 16. I was like, Dad, how Oklahoma State amazing, but this course just really hate me. I'm not going to put a foot here. And 3-4 years later, I was here. So the first time we were qualified, I think I even win the qualifier the first time, if I'm not wrong. But it was just, to be honest, I was so nervous. I was like, what am I doing here? Like, this is, I mean, Carson Creek, if you know how to shoot low scores in Carson Creek, you can shoot low scores anywhere you go, pretty much. So it's definitely got me prepared for every tournament. And again, like I said, playing with wind, like, it's so important to know how to play with like trajectory in the golf ball and everything, that you only get to do that with wind. So here, I will be spending time like hitting balls, different kind of shots, and plus the facilities were amazing. So it's definitely helped me to get way better.
Right. No, I mean, you made a great point, right? Most people do think, I want to go to California, I want to go to Florida, I want to go where it's perfect every day. It's 75, there's no wind, and I get to play golf. But you're totally right. Whereas you go anywhere, you go play the British Open or anywhere, it's blowing, and you're like, you don't know where your golf ball goes, right? You just start hitting it in the street, like you always have, and it's blowing all over the place. So you have no ball control. But, playing golf in the wind here and in the cold weather, or winds changing, and I mean, the weather here is nuts. It's not the same. Like I said, every day is different for the most part. It's great to build your golf game.
Yeah, we have actually, so in the team, we're 12 right now, and 6 of us are international, so it's pretty cool. And 2 of them are from England. And I'm not even kidding. Like, it was around, 30 degrees outside, and they were on shorts. Like, they were on shorts, and like, just not even long sleeves, like halves. And I was like, what are you girls doing? And they were like, oh, it's just like back home. And I was like, back home, what? Yeah. Like, it was just insane. I was like, you girls are gonna freeze out. Like, I was with like a beanie and like gloves, and my nose was so red and like dripping because I was so cold. But eventually you get used to it, like I said. And one of the things that I love about our team is that we're just hard grinders. And one of the things that our coaches always tell us is that you already know it's hot there out there, it's cold out there, it's windy. Saying it to yourself and in front of the team is just going to make it and have more power.
Yeah.
Which is not going to bring a good positivity to the team. So if it's cold out there, that's fine. And it's just incredible whenever we go in tournaments, because you hear like half of the field, half of the teams complaining about things that they do not control. They do not control the weather. They do not control how others skate, but they do control their emotions and their thoughts. And so for us, we have been so strong and we have been working so hard to have positive thoughts. And even if we don't like the weather, do not say it out loud, because there's other 5 girls that are playing with you that probably are struggling. If you say it, you're going to actually give it action to that thought that you're having. So
yeah. Tell me about that first win down in Texas.
It was, I can tell you, everything was dropping in the hole. Like, I wasn't even hitting it that good. I'm not going to sound like cocky or anything, but I was not.
Hey, I have been there. I'm like that golfer who stabs it around and makes the wood.
Yeah.
So
like sometimes you're hitting that 30-yard hook.
Yeah.
And hitting every fairway, every green, and you're making everything. And that happened. Like, I wasn't necessarily hitting it like super close. I mean, there were shots that I was literally doing top in, but there were some that like I will have like 45 foot or something and I won't make it. And typical that just goes in like super hard in the hole and I'll be like, oh, okay. And it was just an amazing experience. And like, I didn't even, whenever for me it happens that I'm really into the game, like I'm really into the round, I'm very focused, very relaxed. Like I call it, I'm on the flow zone. So I'm like just playing, not really worrying about what's going to happen, what happened in the past. Like it's really hard to like kind of think of how you were doing with your score. It's more of like, okay, like what's the next shot? And you get to the next shot and you're thinking to the next shot and stuff and so on until you finish. And eventually when I make my last spot and my teammates were there, they were like, I honestly thought I played good, but not good enough. Cause I mean, I was just I think I was leading by 3 or 2. So I was like, that's just nothing. Like it just, everything can happen. Just relax, just stay there, grind out there, like mental toughness. I was just trying really hard out there. And eventually I was like, you know what? Just don't try. Let it happen. Let the birdies come to you. Just be patient. And I always say that when people interviewed me in that tournament, they were like, what was the key? I was like, patience. I even have a tattoo on my finger that says patience, because patience literally in golf, it's the key. If you don't have patience, no matter how much you practice, you're not going to be able to achieve the things you want to. So, it was crazy. And then as soon as I won, like that hug that my coaches gave me, and then like my parents called me and they were crying. They were like, you won in your freshman year. And I was like, oh, I did one in my freshman year. Like, this is actually very cool. And I was like, this is awesome. And eventually, like, I won another win. Like, I'm not the person that I'm like, okay, 1, that's enough. It's the same with birdies. Like, if I do 1, I want to make 2, and then I want to make 3, and so on. So,
yeah, once you get that first taste of that win, right, and you know it's possible, every tournament you tee it up at, you're like, I can do it now. I've done it before. There's no reason I can't do it again. I may as well just go win another one. Yeah, that's a great feeling. And you shot, was it -15? You broke the OSU scoring record by 4 shots.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even know that. Like whenever the Cowgirl like program or something like text me or something, interview me, they're like, do you know you broke this and this and this record? I was like, no, to be honest. Like I just stand on the team, play golf, because that's my job here. My job is to play good, to help the team to win national championships. I'm not like aware of what records I'm doing or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I was so grateful, and it was really cool to know that.
So with like, obviously, you know, you're there to play golf, right? But what about school? Like, do you know, after your freshman year, did you know kind of like what you wanted to study? Had you picked your degree yet?
To be honest, like I said, school was not important to me before college. And my dad was praying for me to get it through my freshman year, through my first semester. He was like, Isa, please, I beg you, please work hard in school. I was like, are you challenging me? And whenever someone challenges me, like I will take it very serious and stuff. And at the end of the day, I was like, I've been through surgeries and stuff. You never know, like health wise, what's going to happen in golf. And like as an athlete, the body's assigned to do something. And if you overuse your body, you're going to get injured at some point. So you have to like have a plan B and a plan C. And so for me, I didn't take it as serious. And then the freshman year started. And I actually liked it. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Whenever people was like, I was sitting down with my counselor and she was like, okay, so what do you like? And I was like, golf. She's like, something that is not golf. And I was like, well, I like everything. And she's like, do you like math? And I was like, no. Yeah. Math and me are a love and hate relationship. I only use math for golf and that's it. No. So she's like, okay. And so she started asking me, and I took a lot of classes my freshman year, like a lot of different type of classes, and it was really fun. And eventually, like, I wanted something super general and just do minors so I could do like less hours, but having something for about everything, which is what I'm doing. I already have a minor in ag leadership, and I'm doing another one in sports management currently. Yeah. And I just realized, like, I wanted to stay at fifth year because school is so important. And like I said on my dream, like, I want to be the best on tour, but eventually I want to retire, and I want to be working on something that I love. Yeah. And that means you have to have the degree, and then you have to graduate to be able to do that. So there's not really a rush to do things. There's not really a rush to like just put some, like, just speed up things if there's actually time for everything. So yeah.
And then so going into obviously last year, which was a bit of a weird year, obviously with COVID and the whole thing, dealing with all that stuff, but you guys played great at, you won conference, right? You played great at nationals, almost had it at nationals, but I mean, how was that, going to nationals, having that experience, and just having, the team and the atmosphere, just, that must have been so cool.
Yeah, we actually just had a team meeting today, just kind of like discussing the whole like year and how everything went. And the coach put a video of like the summary of the entire season, like, why not? And 5 of us, including myself, we were tearing up, just because people from the outside don't realize how hard it is to get to nationals and then being on the finals. Like, it's so hard. Like, it's days of like practicing and like freaking like almost snowing and rainy, and I mean, and then like whenever nobody knows, but like sometimes whenever you're playing nationals, you have finals. It's finals week, so you have to be able to manage those 2 things, being able to focus in the tournament but also have good grades and be there. So it's a challenge. It's a true challenge. But I think what makes us as a team so special is that we're so different, but we love working hard. Everyone loves working hard their own way. And it's so like amazing how we as a women's golf team and then the men's team, we both have the same goal, which is win national championship. So we play with each other so much and we compete with each other that makes it triple time special. Because you're putting 2 teams together that have the same goal. It's so special. And for us, like I said, we love grinding, like literally in the waiting room on school. Like, I think, if I'm not saying like bad numbers, I think we didn't win like down of 3.4 GPA. I think like we were grinding out there, in and outside of the golf course, and most people don't see. They only see like, oh, they're winning tournaments, or oh, they missed a cut or stuff like that. But eventually, just everything falls into place, and the coaches always told us that you do not say that you're going to do things. Just prove them. Like, just show them with actions. And we were a silent team. Nobody expected Oklahoma State to be on the final. At least they expected from the men's, but not the women's team. So we were silent. Like, we won Big 12s, and then it came down, and then we were just constant, and we were there all the time. We were in continuity all the time. And eventually something happened in nationals, that all the preparation and everything that we've been through, it pays off. It was such an emotional week, such an amazing week, knowing that we were in Arizona, but pretty much the girls that were playing, they were there for us. They were cheering for us. And that's what being a teammate is about. That's why college and playing a sport in college is about, to be there for your teammate. And it's more than just playing a sport. It's like a family. It's building a family. And it was such an amazing feeling. And I was convinced before nationals, I was like, coaches, like, I'm leaving next year. Peace out. I finished nationals, and I was like, guys, after nationals, I was like, guys, I'm not going anywhere until y'all kick me out of here. I'm not going anywhere. We're winning national championships. And they're like, okay, that sounds amazing. We like that. So yeah, it's just it's kind of, I always said that nationals like kind of plant a seed in us, in every single one of us. And it's growing every time. And that makes us even work harder and like do everything with discipline, and just be grinding out there. It's just, it's kind of hard to explain, but it just created an emotion that we end up crying after watching that video because we only knew what that meant, and it was amazing. Actually, when we won Big 12s, the girls that didn't travel, we came back from Big 12s around 1 a.m. and the rest of the team was in the parking lot in the golf course with lamps, with like signs and stuff, like, and then music, and they were like, yelling, and they were. I was like, where else do you find this? Yeah. Like, honestly, what school is gonna do this for you? Like, even like they didn't make the lineup, they're not playing or they're injured, but they still are there for your teammate. Like, I was just like, okay, like this is a true family. I have like 11 sisters that I can count on. It's not just like, oh, people that I know. They're my sisters and I can count on them. So it's been just amazing, and I'm very grateful to be here.
Yeah. So go back a bit. Tell me why were you thinking of leaving? Were you going to turn pro and do all that?
Well, I just feel that it's just kind of like it was on my system a little bit. It was kind of like, well, I'm playing good, like I'm playing decent, like I've matured and stuff. Like I think it's time for me to do it. But the reality is that not because you win one college tournament, that means you're the best. It means that because of the things I've been through in freshman year, sophomore year, like not all of it has been happy moments and stuff. There's been times that I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm questioning like a lot of things. And so that eventually, like the way I see it is that make me open my eyes and see the whole view and be like, okay, like it's fine. Don't freak out. Like you have your teammates, you have your coaches. I even have my friends here. Like, it's okay. And I eventually realized, and I was like, yeah, I'm good, but I'm not good enough yet to be the best on tour. And if I want to be the best on tour, I have to be the best on amateur golf. And am I the best amateur in golf right now? No, I'm the 54 or 56 in the world. So those are facts. Whenever it says Isabella Fierro top 3, then I might think about it. And it might take me 2 years, 3 years, but my plan is to stay in a 5th year. So I can also like slow down my pace and not be able to like, or not having that pressure on myself and that like, I don't know, like anxiety of like, oh my gosh, if I hit a bogey, like I'm just not going to graduate. Like all of those things. And I needed something to slow down. And plus I love it here. So I was just like, well, as long as I can help the team to get better and they can help me and I'm happy, then that's what what matters.
Yeah. You going back to mention, the girls showing up at 1 a.m. and having, such a great team atmosphere. Obviously, a lot of people know the guys team and the guys alumni, but a lot of people don't realize that the girls alumni is pretty stacked too, right? You got a lot of professional golfers on the girls side. What's it like being a player and being able to reach out to the alumni and pull from them and kind of ask them questions and pick their brains and stuff?
It's amazing, especially because they have been in our shoes. It's not someone that skipped college. No, they literally have been in our shoes. I think we talked this summer with Pernilla Lindberg, and she's such an amazing and down-to-earth person. And she literally spoke to us like, she's like, girls, tour is not what you think of. Tour, it's lonely and it's hard. And if you're not making cuts, you are losing money instead of winning money. And that's the reality. But you cannot see that on TV. You only see the good shots. You only see the people that are making money. But what about the people that are struggling to keep their LPGA card or even their Symetra card? That's your reality. So that's why it's so important to stay in college. But Pernilla has been so nice. I think we're going to talk to Caroline Masson soon. And then there's a girl named, I think it's Jaden. She's an Australian. She played here. And she comes here quite often. She's amazing also. And she's, it's just so cool to have somebody that been whatever you're going through and you can ask questions. And of course, everyone's different, but just learning from them, because I just feel that you can learn from anybody. Everyone has their own perspective and you can learn from anybody, but especially from them that are going through that. And especially if your goal is being on tour one day, just having that feedback to know how can you get better from that perspective instead of just here. It's just really cool.
Yeah. I can't interview and not ask you about Augusta. Tell me about going to Augusta. That is obviously it's heaven for every golfer on the planet for the most part.
Really?
Yeah. How was it?
It was such an amazing experience. The fact that mean, that's how much women's golf has grown. The fact that they're letting, I mean, not even the LPGA Tour players, most of them got the chance to play there.
Yeah,
and so that's how powerful women's amateur golf is right now. It has grown so much. And just, I even said it, I was like, it's just amazing that we're able to stand where we're standing right now. And they're letting us like use their facilities and everything. Like sometimes like I even thought I was on a dream. I was like, this, like the course didn't look real. Like it looked fake. It was just perfect. Like you could not find any imperfections in the golf course. Like it was just completely, it was like if you were playing Wii, everything just looked green, the same tone, and then like rough changed it, and then the trees were perfectly fine. You didn't find any like flowers on the floor. No, nothing. It was just perfection. So it was a great tournament. I played 2 years. Luckily, and hopefully I will get invited next year. But I got the chance to have my family with me, so they got to live that experience with me. So it was pretty cool. But definitely, like I said, this is another thing why I didn't want to turn professional, because I was like, you get to live this probably like 3 or 4 more years if you keep grinding out there. Why are you going to be wasting your time or like losing that because of, I mean, it's just, there's no point. And once you beat the girls there, you have another fact to be like, okay, I won the Augusta Women's National Amateur. Now I have another fact. Or if you win the US Women's Am, you have another fact. So there's just a lot of things that I think I want to achieve for me to be like, okay, now it's time to go pro. But Augusta was, poof. I mean, I think I even spent more money than any other place in the world. Like it's just, I bought so many things and like they gave us so many stuff and they treat you so good, which is just, it's just unbelievable.
What was the biggest surprise when you got there? What was like, was there a hole that just was better than obviously, or I mean, obviously on the TV doesn't do it justice with how much undulation there is and stuff, but was there anything that really stood out to you that was just like, wow, I did not expect it?
Yeah, the undulation on the fairways. Like most people don't see that, but for example, on number 10, the bunker that is on the right, you see the PGA Tour players, they just get it out with like an 8-iron and a pitching wedge, like they're fine. For us, like I'm 5'4", I'm not like super tall. I'm not tall at all, but like it was like this bunker that I can tell you was double size my height. So like nobody that was in that bunker was able to hit in the green. They needed to like lay off because of how tall it was. And then like number 11, it was just a lot of holes that like were so hilly and like it will roll. If it's downhill, sometimes it will roll like 30, 40 yards. Like it was just firm, really firm. And then the breaks, I even remember like I'm very good. That's my favorite like club. My putter, it's like my baby. Like I love putting and I'm really good at reading greens and everything. But in that course, I was not. Like I was standing and I was like, I asked my cat, I was like, oh, this is left or right? He's like, no, this is right to left. I was like, what? There's a hill on the left. How can you say that? And he was like, because of the water and that thing you see on the right and that. And I was like, oh, okay. And eventually break, like he said, but it was just, the greens were really interesting to read. And I don't know, everything was just amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean, what an experience, right? And like you said, why turn pro and hopefully you get to go back 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody would have probably make the same decision too, especially when if you're a professional, woman golfer, you can't play Augusta, really, can you? So they don't have that yet. But well, I really appreciate you taking the time out to share some stories. I'm no doubt it's going to improve, and you girls going to have a great year and go one better at nationals. Obviously, that's the goal. We'd love to see that happen while you're still at school. Last question though. Yeah. Do you guys play much golf in Oklahoma other than Carson?
We're playing Stillwater Country Club. Sometimes we go to Oak Tree.
Yeah.
I love the Oak Tree. Like it's so pretty. The only time we've been, the greens were punched, so they weren't that good. But the course, like in general, was so challenging, which I loved. And then I really want to go play Southern Hills. That's like my dream. I really, really want to go. But I just feel like the courses in Oklahoma, there's no course you can be like, oh, it's easy to shoot on their part. Like you have to be like, hitting it good and kind of knowing I feel like knowing the wind direction, like whenever you're about to tee off, because the wind swirls so much, like where you are standing, but you like over there, like all the way up, it's way different. So that's why you have to have your compass and look at it, because it's so important to know what direction is coming. So yeah, it's challenging.
Awesome. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I was going to ask you what's your favorite course, but obviously you've only played a few, and Oak Tree seems to be one of the good ones. But you're right, Southern Hills, I'm still on my bucket list as well. So hopefully we get to tick that off. But yeah, I mean, I know we didn't touch on Palmer Cup. Obviously, that was a huge deal as well. You playing that. But yeah, I mean, thanks so much for sharing some stories. Wish you all the best for this semester, and obviously the few more, future years as a Cowgirl, and hopefully see you lifting that trophy sometime soon.
Of course, we will be. I promise that we will be.
Awesome. This podcast is presented by the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, telling Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. The home market is booming, and RCB Bank is here for you. If you're in the market to buy a home, a mortgage pre-qualification will make the process much easier. Talk to one of our mortgage professionals today. RCB Bank, that's my bank. With approved credit, terms and restrictions apply. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. RCB Bank, NMLS 798151.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.